Why did we watch season 2 of Star Trek Discovery? What is it with you? Why are you such a madman? I wasn't going to touch the show again, and then you send me a text.
I called you back.
You called me back. He said, it's getting better.
It did for a while, until it didn't. And I wanted to get something right out of the way, out of the bat. We did our little video making fun of a scene from Star Trek Discovery, season 2. And the point of it was not to parody all the elements of the season, which people were like, yeah, you should do more camera work, you should have this kind of thing. No, we were just making fun of a very specific element, which I wanted to talk about in this review, which was the terrible writing.
Yeah, perfect. Now we just have to deal with the problem of the Klingon time crystals being out of phase with our universe's quantum resonance. No problem.
I like science.
To sever your mother from her space-time requires the energy equivalent of a supernova.
The dark matter particles.
We may be able to modify a transporter enhancer with dark matter.
Yes, to pierce the time stream long enough to lock on Dr. Burnham and beam her into our space-time. I like science.
And everybody coming up with these outlandish, nonsensical, we're going to shoot through a black hole, we're going to throw a black hole at a planet and have a supernova occur and suck in the power of a supernova. And then it's like the writers are patting themselves on the back.
They're paying lip service to the concept of science, but they don't care or understand. I'm going to say that Star Trek Discovery is the dumbest written show on television.
And that in the Twilight Zone.
It'll only take about 5 minutes.
Now this is the power of math.
This is the power of math, people! Come on!
You are correct, Ensign.
But I wanted to bring that up because that was the point of our little thing.
Yeah.
We just said, oh, one thing led to another. It's like, I was going to just read my sample script here. And then I was like, well, why don't we shoot something, you know? Jay and I did something similar for Half in the Bag when we reviewed The Mummy, where there was like a kind of a cliche thing that kept happening in that movie and those kinds of movies. And we shot a little quick recreation.
Hey, you know this area is off limits.
Talk to the judge. This is my crime scene now.
So I was like, okay, I have the script. Why don't we do a recreation? Why don't we build a set? Why don't we get some Star Trek Discovery uniforms? So we weren't trying to parody the entire season or every element of Star Trek Discovery. Very specifically, the stupid dialogue, the stupidly written technobabble, followed by the writers going, science, fuck yeah. Like, it's literally makes my skin crawl.
What? I paid attention in science school.
Now this is the power of math.
Your layman is going to look at this and say, but they had technobabble on TNG.
Within each disturbance, it appears that time is moving at a different rate.
It's almost as if something has shattered the space-time continuum.
Here's the thing. It's not just Star Trek either. I think it's like science fiction in general lately. But like, it used to be the domain of nerds. People who actually loved science and science fiction. And now nerd culture has kind of been taken over by the jocks. It's like in Star Trek 2009 when Spock sees the planet blow up from an entirely different planet, and it's like whoever wrote that didn't give a fuck that it's complete nonsense that you should be able to see another planet. It's like it's right there. What?
Vulcan has no moon, Miss Uhura.
Like in Discovery Season 2, what the fuck is light speed? They're seeing these signals from the other side of the fucking galaxy instantly.
Captain, another signal has just appeared.
Transmission is too faint to determine the exact coordinates.
Yes, they ignore light speed.
And if you're a nerd, that's a basic fucking fundamental thing of physics. If you want to get around light speed, you need to pull something out of your ass. Subspace. Or warp. In Discovery, so they turned the light on the other side of the galaxy. I can see it. There it is. They just turned it on.
Right? Instantaneously. Also, what angers me, and this got started by J.J. Abrams, Kurtzman Abrams and co., they warp right into whatever the fuck is going on.
3, 2. Emergency invasive. Bring main impulse.
with no like time to react. You know what I mean? It's like, we're going to this area where there's a battle. Okay, here's a battle. Shoot! Oh my God, what? Can you stop? A couple of 100,000 kilometers away, kind of assess the situation and then move in. Do you have to stop on a dime in the middle of the battle, or debris that's flying in your face? You know what I mean? It's just, it's more exciting, but it's more stupider.
Look, Mike, we could talk about thoughtful, interesting science fiction all day, but we have to talk about Star Trek Discovery, which is about a time-traveling AI that wants the magic information from a giant ball so it can destroy all life in the universe. I think the number of people who want science fiction to be dumb explosions in space vastly outnumber the number of people who like classic Star Trek.
Why did the J.J. Abrams movies fizzle out, and why did they cancel 4? If you go balls in with big explosions, big concepts, big things too fast, you burn it out too quickly. I've always maintained that, and that's exactly what happened with the J.J. Abrams movies. They just went blowing planets up, like just the craziest, like villain of the week. This thing is gonna, you know, what was Idris Elba's plan in the third one? Do you even remember? Stuff like that, those kind of stories, when they're so epic in scale, you burn out too quickly. That's Star Trek Discovery in a nutshell. I don't see it going past season 3.
I'm surprised it's going past season 2.
You don't have that longevity invested in your audience. It's going to go away. They're going to turn to something else quickly.
Do you expect classic Star Trek to ever come back?
No.
Or once the dumb people go away, do you think the bean counter's just going to say, eh?
I don't know. See, for a second, I was like kind of interested in the Picard series because
I was not, and I never was, because Alex Kurtzman is in charge.
Sure.
The man who wrote The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is in charge.
So they say the new Picard show is not going to be about action and exploding planets.
I don't believe them.
Oh, that's an interesting take on it.
If it's not about blowing up planets, then it's going to be about some kind of soap opera melodrama.
You are my family. We found ourselves among the stars.
I was like, oh, okay. If they take Picard and they kind of do this like small, you know, well-written drama about kind of his end of his life and career, and maybe finding purpose and all these kind of themes that you would do with a 97-year-old man, it might be good. I'd be okay with no explosions. You're right. It's either going to go, oh God, the first 2 episodes, nobody likes them. Pull him out into space. He's got to command a battle fleet. The Borg are coming back. Q's back. You know, just bring it all back. Bring it all back. That's happened with Discovery. Remember? I said they're going to pull out Spock.
Spock.
Bring out Spock. I'm Sarek. This is my son. Spock.
How does Spock get along with his adopted sister?
They're going to pull out all the cards for Picard.
Send him off to the Borg. He wants revenge on the Borg, and he's going to have to fight 50 Borg cubes.
Oh, what was our idea where he had spaceship hands?
Was he going to have... I don't remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Spaceship hands?
Yeah, spaceship hands. Where he's out in space in a spacesuit, and there's like Borg ship-sized like spaceships that are in the shape of fists. They have like thousands of little windows on them and stuff. And there's a tiny little hole in the back for him to put his hands. And he goes like this, and he has big spaceship hands.
I think, no.
And he goes like this, warp speed! And he punches Borg cubes at warp speed with spaceship hands.
I think he's going to be floating out there in space in a spacesuit. And then the Borg ships are going to show up. And then he's just going to say, reconfigure. And then like the Star Trek Enterprise is going to like form around him into the shape of a giant robot. And then he's going to just start punching Borg cubes.
Okay, that's all right. That's a little boring for audiences. Can we make it more exciting? Can he throw a sun at them?
Yes.
But yeah, in the trailer, you have not seen the trailer?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard anything about it?
I heard it exists, but I don't have any faith that the show is going to be good, so I haven't even bothered to check the trailer
Guess
out.
where they primarily shoot and show images from in the trailer?
Where?
The Picard Vineyard.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, everyone on the internet was like, oh, you guys predicted the future. It's like, no, that's
There's some obvious things you can do, and we picked up on some of that.
That's the obvious place you started. We're not taking credit for that. Nobody
Yeah.
stole our idea. We're not psychics, whatever. It's not the last time we saw Picard. It's the last time we saw Picard. I don't consider any of the films canon. Star Trek Nemesis was not the last time we saw Picard. It was all good things.
You think Nemesis was bad? Wait until the Borg cube carrying the formula that will allow you to take over the universe crashes on a sun. So Picard has to lead an away team down on the sun to find the wreckage of the ship.
But the 5 minutes before they land on the sun, they have to build solar-proof suits.
Yes.
To withstand temperatures of 10,000 degrees.
Nobody will even mention gravity.
Right.
The sun, once they're on the surface of the sun, in their sunproof suits, it'll just be ignored. The fact that the gravity would crush them. Yeah.
Getting too close to it would just crush them or kill them from
Yeah.
radiation or any. But they have magic suits. And there probably is no surface of a sun to walk on. It's just a giant explosion that just keeps happening. That's basically what the sun is. It's a semi-permanent explosion. But Picard's going to land a shuttle on it and get out and then figure out a way to throw it at a Borg cube. I think we've gone off topic. We're supposed to be talking about Star Trek Discovery, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
So let's talk about Star Trek Discovery Season 2.
Let's do that. Where do you want to start?
Well, we all remember Season 1 ended when the Star Trek Discovery was meeting up with the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Its registry number is NCC.
I get it.
And Captain Pike is commanding, because this takes place 10 years before the original series, currently commanding the Enterprise. His number 1, formerly played by Majel Barrett.
Sorry, number 1. A little information on this planet. We'll have to leave the ship's most experienced officer here covering us.
Of course, sir.
Now played by Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
Famously played the Blue Lady from the X-Men in the original X-Men films.
She's good. I wanted to see more in number 1. She's in like 5 seconds of this show.
I'm glad you came. Sorry you can't stay longer.
Instead, we get the lady with the headgear on.
Yeah. Mrs. Yum Yum.
Kind of like an AI sausage.
Ew.
You know what? Was she a Benzite or what?
Well, they look much different, though.
I just wanted to know if you knew what I was talking about.
I knew what you're talking about.
Your credentials are intact. There was a Benzite in his training at the Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, okay,
when Wesley had to go through the fake scenario when he thought he was rescuing people from an explosion.
Uh-huh.
It was just a test. Several seasons later, Wesley runs into a Benzite.
You are so desperate to not talk about
I know,
Star Trek
I'm stalling.
Discovery. You're stalling, Mike.
I want to say his name was Mordock.
Mordock, what are you doing here? You couldn't have graduated the academy already.
I'm going to pull clips here because Mordock, and then Mordock was the name of the guy who he was in school with, in the advanced academy class.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Mordock? No, I'm Mendar?
I am not Mordock. I am Mendon.
And then he's like, all you people look the same to me.
Wasn't the other episode the one where Riker was in the exchange program for the Klingons and he analyzed the bacteria on the ship, but he didn't say anything because it wasn't in his culture's policy to do that?
There was a microbe eating away the hull of the Klingon bird of prey.
However, the Klingon Empire will always fight to preserve our future. Works for me.
Can I say this? Pike is delightful.
He is.
Because
And I feel, you know what? It's sad that I have to feel bad that he's a delightful character. But he's, oh God, he's so Star Trek.
Yeah. But you know what, too, though? When Burnham is with Pike, they kind of fall into the Kirk-Spock relationship. Mm-hmm. And Burnham works better with Pike.
Burnham is not insufferable in this season.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because of her contrasting with Pike or just because we've gotten enough distance from her absolute disastrous first impressions.
Yes. She's got the Worf backstory, basically.
Yeah.
Stolen right from Worf. Worf was a war orphan whose parents were killed, and he was adopted by elderly Russian people.
Yes.
So he was raised by a different culture. Burnham, same thing. And so Worf has that dynamic. And they tried to do that with Burnham, but it didn't quite work. Yeah. Worf comes from a warrior race, but he's with these cushy humans who have this comfortable starship, and they don't like to murder each other. Burnham is the same thing, but essentially that's kind of what Spock was. So it's like, why are you doing that again?
Well, part of the problem, too, is just Vulcans as characters tend to come off as smug.
A somewhat unprofessional attitude. However, I've come to expect a lack of professionalism and efficiency on starbases run by human officers.
And they're naturally unlikable, and I don't know why you'd saddle your new protagonist with that character trait.
Which is why she does not work as the lead. She works more as a secondary.
Yeah.
Her and Pike complement each other in the same way Kirk and Spock complemented each other. And so they had a great dynamic. The three of them did, and that's what made those characters work. So
Spock as a protagonist would not have worked.
Exactly, yeah. That's why Burnham didn't work as the lead.
Yeah.
You had Lorca in season 1, who was, he was cold and weird and odd, but he's clearly not your protagonist. Clearly there's something wrong with him.
He was ominous.
Ominous, yes. He wasn't likable. So yeah, they were hinging everything on Burnham being likable, and
she wasn't likable.
The very nature of her character was unlikable. So the show kicks off. Pike takes over. They say 7 red signals appeared in the galaxy at one time, which never...
They never explained that.
They never explained why that happened. It was just so they could all have a number 7.
Can we have like a sloppy writing count on the screen? Because the theme of Star Trek Discovery Season 2 is sloppy writing, where the writers introduce something and then it never pays off. Ever.
Well, it's very apparent that they came up with this idea of 7 red signals and then kind of started writing the show and then forgot about it?
My assumption is there was like 3 different showrunners this season?
Well, yeah. There was a lot of shakeup behind the scenes.
I just assumed that somebody at some point had some idea what they were doing, and then somebody else took over and didn't know what the plan was and just dropped the ball.
Probably not. You know the phrase, too many cooks?
Yeah.
We actually recorded ourselves watching this 2-parter. You, me, and Jay. Mm-hmm. And I've always joked off camera that Star Trek Discovery is the producer show. Because when you watch the intro, they rifle through the cast real quick, and then 80% of the intro is producer names.
Yeah.
Here there were, I think, 21 producer credits?
It was a lot.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Oh my God.
21.
So the 7 red signals, they show up and they vanish for 1 second. And that's never explained. Starfleet thinks this is the most important thing that they can focus on. I don't know why.
Getting to the bottom of these signals is of utmost importance to the Federation.
Oh, I know why.
Why?
Because it was never explained.
Because it was never explained. Okay, so the Enterprise, as they're investigating the red signals, it gets damaged, like, severely.
It suffers a catastrophic failure.
We don't know why it suffered a catastrophic failure. We don't know what the catastrophic failure was, We don't know who did it. We don't know precisely when it happened. We don't have any of the questions. It is never addressed what the fuck happened to the Enterprise.
Nope. It seemed like a thing to get Pike on board Discovery, but it also seemed somewhat important. It wasn't just like the Enterprise is going into dock to get some repair work done. I've been called away to command the ship because I'm the guy who, in the area, has the most experience. I'm going to take over, and you guys don't have a captain because your last captain was a secret asshole.
That's all they had to do.
Yeah, but it seemed, I agree with you, it seemed like it had a major plot thread being developed.
It should have. If you say the most advanced fucking ship we have was taken out while investigating the 7 red signals, and once you get to the finale, that makes no sense because we know Michael Burnham is responsible for the 7 red signals. What, did she take out the fucking Enterprise?
Maybe she did in order to get Pike on board so that Pike could touch the magic time crystal and bring it to the Discovery so that they could build the time suit to repeat the causality loop so that they could escape the battle into the future. Even though while they're about to enter the vortex of the future, they defeat the primary bad guy and could easily abort the mission.
So we are literally 2 minutes into season 2 and nothing makes any fucking sense. And it never will make any sense.
They do a full-on like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Kind of, I got to go back in time and place things around in order to make the story work at the end. But what they did was, it was just so like unimaginably bad. Because okay, we'll talk about a handful of episodes early on in the season that felt like Star Trek episodes.
Yes.
There's the opener, which did not, where the first red signal was the dark matter asteroid, which was like, okay, they find Jet Reno, played by Tig Notaro, on a spaceship, and they bring her on board, and they get a piece of a dark matter asteroid, which does not obey the laws of physics, and they have it. Then that episode ends. The next signal brings them...
by the way, that episode ends. We introduced, like, a big part of that first episode was introducing Jet Reno. She doesn't show up again for, like, 4 more episodes.
Right.
Like, I was shocked she was still around.
Tig Notaro probably liked Star Trek and wanted to be on the show.
If you make a big deal out of introducing her, you think she should be in some of the episodes right after that, rather than having her just vanish for half the season.
So then there's 4 or 5 episodes. I think we both agree New Eden and the Sounds of Thunder felt very Star Trek-y.
Yeah.
New Eden was red signal, of course, takes us to this planet. What's on the planet? Zoom in. Oh gosh, there's a church and people farming. And for the most part, like all the original series episodes, when they go down to a planet and there's like Old West Town, and it's like, yeah, what do we got to film with? Every episode somehow looks like Earth of the 20th century. That's why it felt so throwbacky. It was like, oh, we're going to go down to this planet. There's people farming. There's a church. There's agriculture. It's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? And then, Prime Directive was brought up. That sort of stuff. And
it's a classic Prime Directive episode where there's an ethical issue and 2 characters are on either side of what to do about it, and they debate with one another, and then something happens and there's a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's classic.
Yeah. Same with The Sound of Thunder, which is the Kaminar episode when they go back to
Saru.
I wanted to say Cybok.
Which that episode is just a perfect example of why the Prime Directive is a thing, because they almost accidentally commit genocide.
But they go back to Saru's planet and they realize that Saru's race is basically being, I don't know, not enslaved.
Culled.
But, yeah, something by a super technologically advanced part of their society. And they go through the history, which is like, hey, this is Star Trek-y.
Yeah.
Oh God, 10,000 years ago, Saru's race was the dominant one. Oh God, it's been going back and forth for millennia. Okay, all right.
Sign. I am still your Chancellor.
You are the Federation's puppet.
There's a lot of leftover stuff from season 1 they had to deal with. The Klingon stuff is tied in with Ash Tyler. Ash Tyler, I thought was going to go off with the Section 31 people and just they're going to do their show, but apparently they all come back in this, but it's like they deal with L'Rell, the Klingon Chancellor, who became the Klingon Chancellor because she had the iPad that controlled the bomb that would blow up the Klingon homeworld. That's how she was the Chancellor. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Ash Tyler is her lover, who's on the Klingon homeworld, and then her brother-in-law discovers she had a secret love child with Volk, the albino Klingon who was merged into Ash Tyler. Or
I was never clear on this. Can you clear this up for sure? Was Ash Tyler, did he exist before Volk? Were they two people merged into one? No. Or was Volk just transformed and Ash Tyler is a complete fiction?
Volk, yes, the latter.
Okay.
Ash, I think. Volk was put into a hospital and they ripped all of his skin off and they shaved his bones down and they did all sorts of like virtually impossible, even in science fiction, surgeries to make him look like a human.
They reduced the Klingon body to human.
And then they brainwashed him into thinking he was a human.
Yes.
Almost like, what is it called when you have a spy that's...
Oh, God, sleeper agent?
Yes, sleeper agent, yeah. To where it's like a trigger word.
Yeah.
Brainwashed to the point where a trigger word will... kind of like that episode where Geordie LaForge is corrupted by the Romulans. When he's on a shuttlecraft by himself, going to, was it Ryza for a convention?
Oh, I don't remember, but it was something.
Hey, what's the weather like on Ryza?
And he's just playing games with the computer, and a Romulan warbird appears, and they take him and they brainwash him to commit an assassination on a Klingon in order to, Romulan plotting kind of things.
Yeah.
And he's walking around, and then when that trigger happens, I'm fucking Geordie LaForge, the assassin, I don't know what I'm doing. Then they figure it out the last minute. Picard grabs his face and it shoots up into the ceiling.
Mike, stop having fun. We gotta talk about Ash Tyler. I'm gonna nitpick here. Does the timeline here make any sense?
No.
Because Discovery Season 2 picks up right where Season 1 left off. They just got out of their little Klingon homeworld adventure, and now we're gonna get our new captain. And it seems like 2 or 3 years have gone by in this Klingon episode, when it can't be any more than a week. It's like the hair is all 3 feet long now, and this political situation seems like something that's been happening.
You're right. Yes, it does feel like the next year.
Yeah.
Much like a season of a regular TV show.
But
Was it thought out? No.
Because the season specifically starts off literally right where Season 1 ended.
Yeah, they even have time to design and present the new D7 battlecruiser. They have something much better, which is a ship 500 times as big as a D7 battlecruiser. L'Rell is in charge of the Empire with her iPad, finger on the iPad. She's got a dead man's trigger on an iPad that will blow up a bomb inside the Klingon homeworld that the Federation planted. And all the Klingons are okay with this, except for Old Man, who's her second cousin, who says, I know you had a love child with Volk, and I'm keeping the love child in this little room. And I'm holding it as a hostage or as ransom, kind of like, you better do what I say or I'm going to kill this baby. I think that's what happened. And then I'm gonna if you don't like step down as the Empress and so then she stands in front of all the Klingons and has a rubber head of Ash Tyler and a baby head and says, "Fuck both of these people. You can call me Mother. I'm the head of the Klingon Empire." End of episode.
Yeah.
The red signal appeared, right?
Did it appear there?
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, it appears so that they could go to the Klingon moon that has the Klingon time crystals. And then L'Rell's there, and L'Rell's influence gets Pike to go down there.
Okay.
So that is why that red signal happened there, so that they could get the Klingon
But in
time
later
crystals.
episodes, wasn't the Enterprise waiting for that signal to show up yet?
I don't know. If you're going to go with the logic of the season, that Michael Burnham used the time suit to fly around and place red signals so that all these events can unfold, the event is that I guess they could get the time crystals so that she could eventually build her own time travel suit, but also so that L'Rell will somehow know to show up at the final battle with a gigantic Klingon ship, even though no one ever told her to do that. Michael Burnham went and let the red signal happen. That's a whole other thing
because
Discovery could
nothing.
Go.
Oh God, the whole that last episode is just nobody put any thought into this season, and we have to pull up any flimsy excuse we can think of to tie this all together. Because the only purpose of the red signal over Saru's homeworld is so that these farmers who've never seen a spaceship before can show up in spaceships to fight the enemy.
Even though they have 100,000 shuttlecraft somehow?
Everything about that battle is stupid, Mike. We haven't even talked about Spock yet.
It's true.
We haven't even gotten to Spock, and you want to talk about the final fucking battle.
It's a very, very impossible puzzle to make sense of. And I think that's the point that we're trying to make here. People of, I would say, moderate to average intelligence, you and I, we watch something like this and we go, what? And then there are people down the IQ scale who watch this, who don't retain information, who just absorb, oh, look at that shot.
It's so dramatic.
It's so dramatic.
Oh, they love each other.
Oh, gosh, they're
it's so emotional.
Throw the word faith.
What did that cost you? Your faith?
Spock discovers what his faith is.
Your faith in us?
When we say faith, we're not necessarily talking about God.
Your faith in yourself.
Faith. Oh gosh, it's so heady. It's so thoughtful. It's so emotional. And it's not used specifically in a religious sense. It is for Pike and certain characters, but in other ways it's like, I have faith in you, you know, Burnham and Spock, and they trust, and it's all the fucking surface level, the shit that floats up to the surface. It's all gloss, it's all glitz, and it's no depth.
Yeah.
It's a soap opera of garbage, and there are people out there that will eat that up and not really understand why. What we're trying to do is essentially grasping at straws.
The first meeting of Burnham and Spock, I give so much credit and respect to the writers because I love what they did with this story.
Spock being framed for no reason.
Section 31 framed him.
For why?
Because they wanted him to be locked into a mental institution so that they could kidnap him. Because, remember, he escaped from them?
Did they really need to frame him for murder to do that?
No. It was his plot device early on that was forgotten about.
Exactly!
Yes.
Like Leland is the one who has him framed for murder, right? But Leland hasn't been infected by the evil AI from the future yet. So he just randomly decided to do an evil thing to be evil.
It was mysterious. Why is Spock in a mental institution? Why is he framed for murder?
But if you're going to introduce a mystery, it should have a satisfying payoff and not, hey, why don't we just introduce a mystery?
What are you talking
What's
about?
the solution to the mystery? I don't know. Just introduce a mystery. That'd be fun.
They go back to Talos 4, and the Telosians are there, and the lady's there, and all that stuff. They have to physically play clips from the cage.
Well, because the people who like Discovery,
don't know.
They've never fucking seen the cage.
I get it. So they do that, and the Telosians are the ones that can magically cure Spock's scrambled brain. Spock's gone loco. He's all scrambled up in the brain because the Red Angel goes back and...
Well, the Red Angel that gave Spock the visions, I think, was Burnham's mother.
Oh, yes, you're right. She chose Spock because Spock is both intelligent from being Vulcan and half human and has that emotional side, but is also so smart he could decipher the signals and also was dyslexic. That played into it somehow too.
It'd be cool if this happened and they don't know where they're going with it. That's the season in a fucking nutshell. This would be cool. How's it play out? I don't know.
He could get put into a framed for murder by holograms, by a fraudulent security camera image of holograms of Spock committing murder by Section 31, so that Section 31 could then make it look like Spock had escaped the mental institution, but really they stole him. Oh, because they remember they had him in a chair and they were like, we're going to get into your brain and drill into your brain and find out all the secrets about the red signals. I think that the real simple explanation was that Section 31 was also investigating the red signals at the same time.
But why frame Spock for murder after he already escaped and make these people who are just unconscious dead? Why do that? Well, he went to his mother's on Vulcan with Michael Burnham, and then
the mother took him into a secret cave.
Yeah.
Where they communicated with the
secret cave with the anti-mind reading crystals.
When you say it, it sounds so believable. It sounds so credible.
That's right under Spock's house.
Yeah. Yes.
The anti-mind reading crystal cave.
And Sarah comes down. What are you doing? What is this? I said, remember when Ash Tyler had a secret recording device planted in his face paint?
I don't. Oh! Yeah. So Michael Burnham, she sends out the red signals to stop the evil AI from the future from getting the information to turn itself into the evil AI from the future, right?
Yes. The data.
Okay.
From the sphere.
The reason the evil AI from the future gets into the past is because it followed its way through one of the red signals?
Light and shadows. Discovery is confronted by a time anomaly while researching the Red Angel's signal over Kaminar. Pike and Tyler investigate the anomaly in a shuttlecraft, sending a probe into it. They are soon attacked by that same probe, now upgraded with future technology, which uses their shuttle's computer system to secretly infect Ariam, which is the robot lady.
But the time anomaly, so the time anomaly wasn't created by the Red Angel suit?
No, the red signal does not create the time anomaly.
That's a different time anomaly? That coincidentally occurred over the same planet where they just had their adventure?
Yes, because remember there's all the asteroids floating around Kaminar? And they used the dark matter asteroid to...
The dark matter asteroid that they only had because Michael Burnham sent out the red signal so that they'd get the star asteroid, so they could use the asteroid to save Cyro's people, so that Cyro's people could show up with spaceships, farmers with spaceships, so that they could make no difference in the final battle?
Right.
I will never again let you fight alone.
You have learned to pilot a fighter.
We were on our way when one of your crew hailed us to unify our efforts.
Who?
But here's the thing. They went to Kaminar because
I hate this show so fucking much.
They went to Kaminar because of the red signal, where they encountered the time anomaly that they investigated with a probe that went into the time anomaly and came back out with the evil AI. So, you're right. If Burnham didn't send them to Kaminar, the entire cycle wouldn't have happened. Well, it's just something that they forgot about. That's all.
They forgot about everything.
Yeah. One important thing to mention is New Eden. The New Eden storyline, which is like the second or third episode. Remember, the Red Angel, for some reason, went back to World War III and saved a bunch of people in a church and brought them to a remote planet on the other side of the galaxy.
It was so they would have a base to stay on when they go to the future permanently.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But is the church and all those people still going to be there 900 years from now? Maybe it'll be an advanced city and they could just live in that city. But really, if you're going to go...
But why did the Enterprise, why did the Discovery have to go there with the red signal? What did that have to do with it?
Why go back to World War III and save a bunch of people in a church as the Red Angel? No reason. Because they wrote that episode and it didn't make sense at the end, so they just said, forget it. They went and wouldn't any M-class planet do as setting up a base? Why that specific one? Wouldn't that be a red flag? Like, that was where one of the red signals was AI. Maybe they're there. Why not go to just some fucking random M-class planet in the galaxy and set up base there? And why do they even need to set up a base if Philippa Georgiou killed the AI by magnetizing it to the floor.
Yum, yum.
They're hoping that when you watch an episode, by the time you watch the next episode, you don't remember anything about what happened before. But here's the thing, you got, 14 episodes, plan out your season.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is that?
Don't wing it. Don't fucking wing it and have no idea what you're doing or where you're going with your season-long arc.
Especially when you set up a complicated mystery from the beginning. You need to know what the end of that mystery is before you start filming your show.
Not planned. Like, I don't think you could say this was planned out at all.
It doesn't seem that way.
The way everything is so fucking slapped together at the end.
And it's glossed over with big bombastic scenes of action and music and drama and I love you, Spock, don't leave me.
I love you too, brother.
You were my best friend. It's nonsense.
Find that person who seems farthest from you and reach for them. Reach for them. Let them guide you.
And we want to have a big battle. So now the Enterprise apparently has 1,000 fighter craft stationed aboard it.
Somehow they have, it's like TNG size, like shuttlecrafts. And each ship has 10,000 of them. I like laughed out loud. Then Enterprise D had like 8 shuttlecrafts. You know what I mean? And somehow Discovery and Enterprise have like 1,000 shuttlecrafts, which is more mass than the ship itself.
Ah, Jesus fucking Christ, that fucking door hatch shit.
Close the blast door, Rich.
You gotta close the blast door manually because they didn't think to put a handle on the other side of the fucking blast door.
What if we transfer the antimatter to antimatter pods?
Too risky.
You sure you can't reprogram the guidance system?
They couldn't fucking beam her out.
And what is it with the blast door? All the ships have force fields that...
How the fuck is that blast door gonna stop the fucking rest of the ship from blowing up? It's a fucking door, and it's a giant fucking torpedo.
That particular scene encapsulates Star Trek, both Star Trek knowledge and dumb action movie. It's a perfect merging of both. The scene is, for some reason, and this happened in Star Trek Voyager, by the way, an undetonated torpedo lodged itself into a ship, into the Voyager, and that's how Tuvok got blinded. This is in Year of Hell.
Okay.
You remember that great two-parter. That was also a time travel episode. But this happens, torpedo lands in the Enterprise's hull, right in the kind of front part, and they say if it blows up, it's going to blow up the entire bridge, saucer section, most of it. But if they close a blast door, right next to it, it will not do that.
Close the fucking door.
Close the fucking door.
Close the fucking door!
They closed the blast door. They closed the blast door. It's basically, I think, a way for that actress to get the fuck off the show. I've only signed for 2 seasons. I'm out. Okay, well, we got to kill you. How about a control panel blows up in her face? And she dies. Not dramatic enough. She's got to self-sacrifice herself.
Can't she just not be in season 3?
So they close the blast door, and Pike's just standing there looking through glass.
Transparent
aluminum, yeah.
That transparent aluminum held back that fucking antimatter torpedo.
Right. I'm just going to stare with my naked eyes at a matter-antimatter explosion. At least Tuvok went fucking blind from it, which is probably what would happen.
But Mike, it's so emotional.
Sure.
It's so emotional.
It was self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice is always emotional. She threw herself on the proverbial grenade, essentially, and that's the end of Cornwall. So now Discovery, even though they were flying, and that was the thing we were screaming at the screen, was they've defeated the evil AI. Yeah. So you
transmit a signal that they don't have to go into the vortex.
Leland is dead. Control is neutralized.
Copy, Commander. Okay, we are
Oh.
on our way.
Stop.
Then why are we still What?
Why?
The evil AI at this particular moment in time is no longer going to pursue that data.
There is now no reason for them to strand themselves 900 years in the future.
Yes.
They do not have to do that anymore. The day has been won.
Michael Burnham can flip the off switch on her Red Angel suit. I mean, they could have thrown a line in there that says, the process has been started. The gravitational pull is too strong. We're stuck.
Well, no, because you need the heroic shot of them sacrificing themselves when there's no need to sacrifice themselves.
Well, what are their numbers? What is their ratings? And you can't trust TV reviews either, because a lot of times television reviews don't review the entire season.
Mhm.
They watch a handful of episodes up front,
Yeah.
and then kind of write a review. It's like The Twilight Zone. We watched that. You watched the whole season, as did I. With Twilight Zone, they front-loaded the season with the better episodes,
Mhm.
and then it just fucking dropped like a rock, the quality.
Yeah.
And your reviews are basically like, well, episode 1, 2, and 3 are this, this, and this, and this. It has potential. It's pretty good. Yeah. And then, you don't see a season review. Like same with Star Trek Discovery. The first couple episodes very action packed. Exciting. They're flying around the things.
Yeah.
Tig Notaro shows up. Everybody loves Tig Notaro. And it's, okay. Yeah, this isn't too bad. Certified fresh. You're gonna walk further down the hallway to where the building starts falling apart. And so yeah, there's that. And so what I'm trying to say is, does the positive, surface level positive, reviewers say it's good, there's some Twitter feeds, everyone says it's emotional, does that reflect hard numbers?
I have no
subscribers,
idea.
view counts, is it making money? Is the expense of the show outweighing how much money it's bringing in from subscriptions to CBS All Access and all that? So I don't know.
Right.
That all that information is private. So you never know. And if they're going with it, if they're bleeding money, they might be, and they're saying, well, we're going into production of season 3, even though we're bleeding money because we don't want to raise red flags for these 5 other series that we've started, and we think that those will be better. We think Picard will do better. We think Lower Decks will do better. We think these different properties will do better, but we don't want to cancel season 3 of Discovery because that'll raise red flags.
Right.
So we're bleeding money over here in the hopes that we can recoup money over here. Who knows?
It's entirely possible.
I can't watch any more of this. I like, and that's a shame too, because I like the cast, the actors. You can't blame them, and then you look at these sets and the visual effects and the production quality, and you just know there's hundreds of thousands of man hours of building sets, computer animation, the ships look great, the visual effects look fucking great, the show looks like a movie. The heart of the show, the brains, the core of the show is the writing and is the story. All the other elements are there, but you have Alex Kurtzman marching it into a grave. You have scatterbrains and no one behind the wheel of plotting out this season.
You just throwing out ideas with no thought. Just, what about this? And I'm not going to think it through. What about this? I'm not going to think it through. This would be neat.
Yeah, you could throw out crazy ideas left and right before you start writing. They threw out crazy ideas and just wrote them into scripts and started filming.
Yes.
And then they get to the end and they're like, we have signals, we've only done 3 of them. What do we do? Michael Burnham flies around and does them all, but
how do we work in the Saru planet? Why was that red signal? I don't know. They need fighter planes to show up. They'll just show up in ships and start shooting at things.
If they didn't have any shuttlecrafts and then the Kaminars showed up, having co-opted the technology of the evil aliens that suppressed them, and they fought the battle, that would have made some sense.
Yeah.
Oh God, our phaser 2 is down, phaser 3, we're out of photon torpedoes. What do we do? Oh no, here comes Kaminars. Saru taught his sister and all of her friends how to learn this alien technology that's advanced to our own. They're going to help in the battle. But she shows that they have 40,000 fighter crafts, and she shows up with 6, and it's fine. I'm going to help out. What? It's like what? You can't think about anything.
There's so much.
I know. It's really hard because you and I analyze things. We overanalyze stuff. We look at stuff. It's literally like smoke should be coming out of our ears. And trying to explain this and break it down so it makes sense to people. I mean, I hope to God someone who's watching this video has watched the season and can kind of understand what we're talking about, or else this is just
gibberish.
Because
that's the show.
Yeah, the show is literally gibberish, and nothing really makes a lot of sense. It's
emotional gloss over nonsense.
Yes, and I think that's where we're at, is summarizing. It's a guy driving a motorcycle and revving the engine, you know. I mean, showing off what you can do with your budget money. I don't know. I really don't get what the point of all this was. Anyways, that's our discussion of Star Trek Discovery Season 2. We finally did it. We talked about it for a very long time. Love talking Star Trek with you, Rich.
I miss Star Trek, Mike. I can't say we talk Star Trek. I really can't.